Today I'm going to show you how I sewed this box pincushion. I got the idea on Instagram and I'm going to put a link in the description to that blog post. Let's start off with what you're going to need. You will need 2 pieces of fabric cut 9.5 by 3.5, 1 piece cut 9.5 by 4.5. I used some ground up walnut shells for the pincushion filling, although you could also use scraps of fabric and stuff. And I put on some buttons for decorative effect. The first thing I did was take the piece of fabric measuring 9.5 by 4.5. I folded it over and ironed it. This is to make the pocket. What you're seeing me do here is make some markings where I want my buttons and top stitching to be. Keeping in mind that you want to measure over around 1/4 inch at the end and at the beginning because you've got that seam allowance there. So you got 3 inches each block roughly. Now what I'm doing here is top stitching over the folded half of the pink piece of fabric that I'm using for the pocket. Now what I'm doing here is lining this up raw sides together, I guess you would say, and basting along the bottom and along the 2 sides. And yes, I know I did place my buttons unevenly, but such is life. So anyways, what I'm doing here is top stitching down to make the pockets. Now here what I'm doing is just marking where I did that top stitching on the purple piece. So this is just going to be so I can have a reminder where to turn. But yeah, just so everything lines up. Alright, so now what you're going to do is line things up together like this in a T, right sides together, and you're going to pin. So you're going to pin on both sides, you're going to see in a second here, and then you're going to pin going the other way as well. On pinning, what you're going to do is head over to the sewing machine and sew everything up at around 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to want to lower your stitch length. I put mine down to 1.5, but 1.8 or 2 should do. Don't forget to leave a hole for turning. Now you flip everything right side out and you should have something that looks similar to this. And the next thing you're going to do is through that hole is fill it up with walnut shells or excess fabric. I ended up using all my walnut shells, so I had to use some added fabric. Now you're going to want to hand sew up that hole so everything is closed in. There you have it. Now you are done with your pincushion.